There are places on this planet that seem to defy explanation. Corners of the map where the known rules of physics and logic just don't seem to apply. For decades, one such place has captured our collective imagination like no other. It's a stretch of ocean off the southeastern coast of the United States, a place where ships have vanished without a trace and planes have disappeared from the sky in broad daylight. They call it the Bermuda Triangle, but it's also known by a more sinister name, the Devil's Triangle. It's a legend built on baffling disappearances, strange phenomena, and the kind of chilling stories that are best told around a campfire. It's a mystery that has haunted sailors, pilots, and explorers for generations. The allure of the Bermuda Triangle isn't just about lost vessels, it's about the how and the why. How can a massive naval ship, hundreds of feet long, simply vanish with its entire crew? How can a squadron of trained military pilots fly into a clear sky and never be heard from again? These aren't ancient myths from a forgotten time. These are modern mysteries involving advanced technology and experienced crews. The stories are packed with details that defy easy answers. Compasses spinning wildly, strange lights in the sky, and sudden, inexplicable radio silence. It's this complete and total disappearance that makes the triangle a true enigma. There are rarely bodies, wreckage, or even an oil slick left behind, just an unnerving, empty silence. This legend has grown into a global phenomenon fueled by books, documentaries, and countless articles. Each new story adds another layer to the myth, another piece to a puzzle that seems impossible to solve. The triangle has become a go-to explanation for anything unexplainable that happens in this patch of the Atlantic. It has become a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that for all our scientific progress and exploration, there are still parts of our world that remain profoundly and stubbornly mysterious. It's a place where the line between fact and fiction blurs, where science and superstition clash on the open water, leaving us to wonder what secrets the deep still holds. For me, this is what adventure is all about. It's about chasing the stories that others dismiss. It's about heading into the heart of a legend to see if there's a kernel of truth buried within the fantastic tales. The Bermuda Triangle is the ultimate cold case. The crime scene is a vast, ever-shifting expanse of ocean, and the witnesses have all disappeared. But the questions remain hanging in the humid, salty air. What is really going on out there? Are these just a series of tragic coincidences, or is there something more, a force or phenomenon that we have yet to understand? The journey to find answers begins where the map ends. So where exactly is this infamous stretch of water? If you pull out a standard world map or a nautical chart, you'll be searching for a while. That's because the Bermuda Triangle doesn't officially exist. There are no dotted lines on any government-approved map marking its boundaries. The United States Board on Geographic Names does not recognize it as an official region of the Atlantic Ocean. This is the first clue that the triangle is more of a cultural phenomenon than a geographical fact. Its borders are fluid, defined not by geographers but by authors and paranormal enthusiasts who have kept the legend alive through the decades. It's a place born from storytelling. The generally accepted shape is a triangle, as the name suggests. Miami, Florida, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the island of Bermuda, a lonely outpost in the mid-Atlantic. When you connect these three dots, you get a massive area of open ocean covering roughly 500,000 square miles. However, the size and shape change depending on who is telling the story. Some writers expand the boundaries to include the Gulf of Mexico or stretch them further north along the United States coast. This flexibility is convenient. It allows storytellers to include any mysterious disappearance in the region under the triangle's ominous umbrella. This lack of official recognition is significant. It means that maritime and aviation authorities do not issue special warnings for pilots or captains traveling through the area. For them, it is simply a heavily trafficked part of the Atlantic Ocean, with its own set of predictable natural hazards. The weather can be volatile, the Gulf Stream current is incredibly powerful and can create treacherous conditions, and the ocean floor has some of the deepest trenches on the planet. These are real, documented dangers that don't require a supernatural explanation. The mystery, it seems, lies not on the maps but in the stories we tell about what happens within those imaginary lines. Ultimately, the Bermuda Triangle is a place of the mind. It's an idea, a concept that represents our fear of the unknown and our fascination with the unexplained. Its shifting borders and unofficial status make it the perfect canvas for projecting our wildest theories. Because it's not tied down by official coordinates, the legend can grow and adapt, absorbing new incidents and keeping the mystery alive for each new generation. It's a phantom zone whose location is less important than the powerful grip it holds on our imagination. The search for the triangle isn't about finding a place, but about understanding a legend. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle feels like a modern one, born in the age of flight and radio communication, but the seeds of its mystery were planted centuries ago, long before the name was ever coined. Some of the earliest accounts of strange phenomena in this region come from the most famous explorer of them all, Christopher Columbus. During his first voyage to the New World in 1492, his ship's log recorded a series of bizarre events as his fleet sailed through the area we now call the Triangle. These were not tales of monsters, but of strange, unsettling occurrences that defied his understanding of the natural world. On one night, Columbus wrote that he saw a great flame of fire crash into the sea in the distance. Was it a meteor, a strange atmospheric event? He didn't know, but it was significant enough to record. A few days later, he noted another strange light appearing and vanishing in the night sky. But the most troubling event was what happened to his compass. On October 11, 1492, just a day before his historic landfall, the ship's compass began to behave erratically. The needle no longer pointed to the North Star. This was deeply alarming for sailors who depended entirely on their compasses for navigation across the vast, featureless ocean. To prevent panic among his crew, Columbus kept the compass issue a secret. He knew that a malfunctioning compass could be seen as a terrible omen, a sign that they were sailing into a cursed part of the world from which they might never return. Today, we have a scientific explanation for this. We know that there's a difference between true north, the North Pole, and magnetic north, where a compass points. In the area Columbus was sailing, this variation is particularly pronounced, and it can cause compasses to appear to go haywire. But for a 15th century explorer, it must have felt like the laws of nature were breaking down around him. These early accounts from Columbus became the foundation stones of the Bermuda Triangle legend. Later writers, looking for historical precedent, seized upon his journals as proof that something strange had always been happening in this part of the world. They retroactively cast Columbus not just as an explorer, but as one of the first witnesses to the Triangle's mysterious forces. While his sightings can now be explained by science, the light likely a meteor, the compass a known magnetic anomaly, they added a sense of ancient historical weight to a modern myth. The whispers of mystery had been there all along, carried on the wind and waves for centuries. The heart of the Bermuda Triangle legend beats with the stories of ships that sailed into its waters and were never seen again. These tales are not just about sinking, they're about vanishing. One of the earliest and most haunting stories is that of the Ellen Austin, a large American schooner. The story goes that in 1881, the Ellen Austin came across another ship adrift in the Atlantic. It was a derelict, a ghost ship, with its sails set but no sign of a crew. The captain of the Ellen Austin put a prize crew aboard the vessel, with instructions to sail it alongside them to port. It was a chance to claim a valuable ship and its cargo. The two ships set off together, but then a fierce storm rolled in, separating them. When the weather cleared 2 days later, the ghost ship was nowhere to be seen. The captain of the Ellen Austin searched for it, and eventually he found it again, sailing aimlessly on the horizon. But when he sent a boat to investigate, he found the ship was once again empty. The prize crew he had placed on board had vanished without a trace. There are different versions of this story. Some say the captain tried to put a second crew on board, only for them to disappear as well. It's a chilling tale of a cursed ship that consumes anyone who dares to board it. Perhaps the most famous naval disappearance is that of the USS Cyclops. This was not some old wooden sailing ship. It was a massive, 542-foot-long US Navy collier, a modern marvel of its time. In March 1918, during the height of World War I, the Cyclops set sail from Barbados, bound for Baltimore. It was heavily loaded with over 10,000 tons of manganese ore and carried 306 crew and passengers. It was last heard from on March 4th. After that, nothing. The ship never arrived in Baltimore. It never sent an SOS signal. It simply vanished. The search that followed was one of the largest in naval history, but not a single piece of wreckage was ever found. The loss of the USS Cyclops remains the single largest loss of life in US naval history not involving combat. President Woodrow Wilson himself said, "Only God and the sea know what happened to the great ship." The mystery deepened because the Cyclops was equipped with a powerful radio, yet no distress call was ever received. This suggested that whatever happened, it happened fast. Did the heavy cargo shift in a storm and cause the ship to capsize instantly? Did it fall victim to a German submarine, though Germany denied any knowledge of it, or did something far stranger occur in the heart of the Triangle? The empty ocean provided no answers. The Bermuda Triangle's reputation isn't confined to the sea. Its mystery extends into the skies above. Just as ships have vanished from the waves, aircraft have disappeared from the clouds, leaving behind nothing but baffling last words and an enduring enigma. The most legendary of these incidents is the disappearance of Flight 19. This wasn't just one plane. It was an entire squadron of 5 US Navy Avenger torpedo bombers. On December 5, 1945, these 5 planes, with 14 experienced airmen, took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a routine training mission. The weather was clear, and the mission was simple. They were supposed to fly east, conduct bombing runs, and return. They never came back. A few hours into the flight, the control tower received a disturbing radio transmission from the flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor. He sounded confused, disoriented. "Both my compasses are out," he reported. "I am trying to find Fort Lauderdale. I'm over land, but it's broken. This was impossible. His flight plan should have kept him over the ocean." Other pilots in the squadron were heard on the radio, equally confused. Their transmissions became increasingly erratic, speaking of white water and strange visual readings. The last transmission heard from the flight leader was a desperate order: "All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall." When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together. The mystery didn't end there. As soon as it became clear Flight 19 was in trouble, the Navy launched a massive search and rescue operation. A Martin Mariner seaplane, a huge flying boat known as a flying gas tank, was sent out with a 13-man crew to search for the missing bombers. But shortly after takeoff, the Mariner also disappeared from radar. A ship in the area reported seeing a massive explosion in the sky at the exact time and location where the seaplane vanished. The Mariner, it was believed, had tragically exploded in mid-air. But for the 5 Avenger bombers, there was nothing. No wreckage, no life rafts, no bodies. For days, one of the most extensive air and sea searches in history scoured over 300,000 square miles of the Atlantic. They found nothing. It was as if 5 military aircraft had simply been plucked from the sky. How could 5 pilots flying in clear weather all become so hopelessly lost? Why did all of their compasses fail at the same time? The official Navy report offered no definitive cause, famously concluding that the planes vanished as if they had flown to Mars. This single incident, more than any other, cemented the Bermuda Triangle's reputation as a place where the ordinary rules of aviation and navigation cease to exist. When you have a mystery as deep and persistent as the Bermuda Triangle, you're going to get some wild theories, and that's part of the fun. When conventional explanations fall short, the human imagination runs wild, trying to fill the void with answers, no matter how extraordinary. One of the most popular and enduring theories connects the Bermuda Triangle to the legendary lost city of Atlantis. The idea, popularized by author Charles Berlitz, is that Atlantis was a highly advanced civilization powered by massive energy crystals. After the city sank beneath the waves, these powerful crystals remained active on the ocean floor. According to this theory, the energy crystals of Atlantis are still functioning deep within the triangle. Periodically, they release powerful bursts of energy that can interfere with the electronic and magnetic instruments of modern ships and planes. This would explain the spinning compasses, the radio silence, and the complete disintegration of vessels which might be zapped by a concentrated energy beam. Some psychics and mystics have even claimed to have seen gleaming pyramids and other structures on the seabed through remote viewing, further fueling the idea that the remnants of a powerful ancient technology are to blame for the modern-day disappearances. It's a fantastic theory that connects an ancient myth with a modern mystery. Another favorite explanation points not down into the depths, but up into the sky aliens. For some, the only logical explanation for ships and planes vanishing without a trace is that they are being abducted by extraterrestrial visitors. The Bermuda Triangle, in this view, is a hotspot for UFO activity, a kind of intergalactic collection point. The strange lights reported by Columbus and other pilots are seen as evidence of alien spacecraft observing our world. The disappearances are clean and total because the ships and planes, along with their crews, are being teleported or taken aboard alien vessels for study. This theory offers a tidy, if terrifying, solution to the problem of the missing wreckage. On the more scientific, but still speculative side of things, are theories involving unknown natural forces. One idea is that the triangle is a source of electronic fog or a time-space warp, a natural phenomenon that can transport vessels to another time or dimension. This would explain why they are never found. Another more grounded theory involves methane gas hydrates. The ocean floor in this region is known to have vast deposits of frozen methane gas. The theory posits that a sudden release of this gas could create a massive plume of bubbles, drastically reducing the density of the water. A ship sailing into this frothy, gaseous water would lose all buoyancy and sink instantly without warning. So, after all the sensational stories and wild theories, what does science have to say? For pilots, sailors, and scientists who actually work in the region, the Bermuda Triangle is a myth. They argue that when you look at the facts without the lens of mystery, the legend quickly falls apart. The US Coast Guard, which has conducted countless search and rescue operations in the area, officially states that the number of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle is not unusual. In fact, when you consider the sheer volume of ship and air traffic, combined with the often treacherous weather, the number of incidents is proportionally no greater than in any other part of the ocean. Many of the classic stories that built the legend have been thoroughly debunked. Investigations by researchers like Larry Kusher, author of The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved, have shown that many of the stories were exaggerated or based on flimsy evidence. For example, some vanished ships were later found to have sunk in different parts of the world, or their disappearances were misreported. In the case of Flight 19, later analysis of the radio transcripts suggests the flight leader may have mistaken the Bahama Islands for the Florida Keys, leading him to fly further out to sea instead of back to land. The weather, initially reported as clear, was actually deteriorating rapidly, creating a perfect storm of human error and bad conditions. Science offers plausible, if less exciting, explanations for the phenomena reported in the Triangle. The compass malfunctions witnessed by Columbus and others can be explained by the area's natural magnetic variations. The sudden violent storms are a well-documented feature of the Gulf Stream, which can generate rogue waves capable of swamping even large ships in an instant. The deep ocean trenches, like the Puerto Rico Trench, which plunges to over 27,000 feet, mean that any wreckage that does sink would be nearly impossible to find. The methane gas theory, while intriguing, is still debated, but it provides a possible natural mechanism for a ship to sink rapidly. In the end, the greatest mystery of the Bermuda Triangle may be why the legend is so powerful and persistent. It seems we have a deep-seated need for mystery in our world. We want to believe that there are still places that defy our understanding, where magic and the supernatural might still hold sway. The Bermuda Triangle is the perfect vessel for these beliefs. It's a story that combines the thrill of exploration with the fear of the unknown. While science can explain away most of the incidents, it can never completely erase the chilling image of a ship sailing into the mist or a plane flying into a clear blue sky, never to be seen again. And that is a mystery that will likely live on forever.